Okay, we're going to look at chords today. I mean, some of the basic things on when you're playing guitar is being able to finger your notes and your chords around the fret so you feel comfortable. And three basic chords that we're going to look at today is your G, your C, and your D chord, and they're all major chords. And I'll go a little bit more in depth about major and minor if you're not familiar with the actual colours and the way how those chords work. But we're going to be concentrating on these three chords today: G, C, and D major. And what we're going to look at is the best possible way and the quickest way that feels comfortable for you to be able to get these chords down very quickly. Because I know how frustrating it is when you first get an instrument like the guitar. Feeling comfortable to kind of move your fingers around can kind of feel a little bit awkward at first. So that's something we're going to actually look at, and I'm going to hopefully try and demonstrate and show you ways in which you'll be able to do that that's comfortable, and you'll remember also as well to be able to kind of play those chords in those shapes. So we're going to first look at the G chord. Now, first of all, you can see I'm kind of positioning myself so that I feel comfortable with the instrument close to me. Now, maybe you might not actually have an electric guitar, you might have an acoustic guitar, which obviously is a different shape and maybe a little bit bigger in body to mine. But the same principle applies to any instrument when it comes to fingering. It's really all about the neck, and feeling comfortable with your fingers moving around. So let's look at the G chord. Now, I found by playing this chord, there are different ways of playing it. Now, I've seen some people play this chord by using the second finger on the third fret, which is the G, yeah? And I've also seen people use the first finger on the fifth string, which is a B. And I've also seen, now you've got a choice of two fingers here. So now it's like, if you wanted to play your first string on the G note, you could play it like this. And you would have your G chord, your G major chord, which would be. Now, for me, personally, I found that a little bit uncomfortable to be able to play the chord and to feel that this part of my hand felt relaxed, because it doesn't at the moment. It feels quite tense, and I know I would have problems in order to keep that shape like that for a long time. I'd end up kind of going, ooh, that's too much, that. So I found a way of playing this chord which I think is a lot more comfortable for me. And when I've taught students the basics of guitar chord shapes, I found that the majority of them have found it a lot easier to play it this way as well. And that's the reason why I'm actually wanting to show you it today. So basically, you're going to be using your third finger as opposed to your second finger on your sixth string on your G, yeah? Okay, so that leaves these two free. And then on your fifth string, which will be your B note, you're going to use your second finger. Okay, so it leaves this one free. So there you go. Got your G and your B. And then to finish off, on your first string, which will be your G note, you're going to use your little pinky finger, that we call it the pinky finger. Yeah? And there you go. So this is free. And there you go, you've got the G chord. Now that feels a lot more comfortable to me, to be honest. And I think that's a really good way of starting playing that chord. There you go, you can hear everything. Nice and clean. That's how you have to hear your notes, them clean, so you can hear everything. Yeah? So that's your G. And now we're going to move on to your next chord, which is your C major. Now, same kind of vibe really when it comes to playing chords, because I found if I've got used to playing something in a certain shape, why change it to try and find the next chord? Maybe it's a natural progression for me just to basically lift that and move it to the next notes down, which will be your C and your E. Yeah? So let's look at that again. So you've now got your G chord. And I'm saying, right, I want you to play C now. Now what I would do is, and I think it's the easiest way to do it, is to just basically move the first two of these fingers that you've got there on your G and your B to your C and your E. So it's like bam, bam. There you go. Bam. So you're straight into your C chord, and to finish that off, you've just got and then that's an open string anyway. So that's your C major, G major. Just watch how I change it. There you go. And it's just like that. It's just remembering to just bring them down, take that little finger off there, add that one on there, and you've got your C. Yeah? Okay. So we've got the two chords now. So to finish the chord shape, we're going to add the D. Now, this one is slightly different because in some ways you're not actually going to be using the same chord pattern or physical shape that feels actually quite easy to move from one to the other. Now we're actually going to be going into a completely different area of working your fingers on the frets. Yeah? So now you've got your A. Yeah? And this is what I'm using my first finger for. And I found when I've played this D chord, I found it easy if I look at the frets as a shape area. I find it easier then to kind of remember the chords. So let's get back on your A. Yeah? And then we're going to go from there. On the same second fret, you're going to be going to your F sharp, which is on your first string. So you've got A, F sharp, yeah, and then D, which is on your third fret on your second string. So this is your D chord. See? There you go. And have you noticed I'm not playing? Because these two notes are not relevant in terms of the D chord, your A and your E. It would cluster the chord, it would actually discoordinate and would take it away from it being a D major. So I'm basically playing these three notes, yeah, and I'm adding an open D. There you go. And that's your D. So we have G, C, D. And those are your three basic chords to get you started on playing tunes, melodies, songs that you're familiar with, and so forth.